डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Good afternoon, dear students. I, Dr. Chintan Waghela, working as an assistant professor of English subject from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Dear students, as we all know that we always begin the session by having a popular quote. So today I just want to share a popular quote, something all about that learning is a treasure that will follow its honor everywhere. Dear students, learning is a treasure that will follow its honor everywhere. This proverb insists us, helps us, motivates us that learning is not a one-time process, but it is a lifelong journey, and we have to keep it forever. So our today's session is all about. In this session, we will discuss something about the TYBA session, the paper 8. Unit 1, Introduction to Form of Essay. Dear students, before we begin this session, we have identified some components of today's presentation. In these components, we are having a definition, characteristics, brief history and development, and Montaigne's contribution to essay. So, dear students, I think it is very necessary to know the first the definition of the essay. That what is essay exactly? The definition of an essay is vague, overlapping with those of an article or a short story. In an academic context, mostly the university which defines an essay is the purpose of essay writing. I hope you all know that mostly we are having that what we are considering the essay. Essay means the particular topic that we have, and on that topic we are writing something as per our knowledge, as per our reading as well, and so many things. But today we will discuss something about that what is the essay exactly. What is the point of view of an expert regarding the essay? Which are the characteristics? Which are the pros and cons that you have to keep in mind while we are writing an effective and the fruitful essay? And from my perspective, I strongly believe that, I strongly recommend you all that please follow all the instructions and the characteristics of an essay to make your essay more impactful. At university level, the main purpose of an essay is to how well you understand the context, the entire context, the entire theme as well, and how specific ideas and all other components work to write an effective essay. So one thing is very clear, that without having a particular characteristics, a framework, that we cannot write an essay in any way. It also believes that how effectively you can explain and argue them to even you are having the essay. Yes. So, dear students, in this slide that we are having some characteristics. As we have already discussed, that which kind of characteristics can help us to write an effective essay. Let's discuss. First of all, essay is not confused with the kind of essay you write about a fiction or non-fiction text. That is an analytical essay. A classical essay is something else. Here are some characteristics essay. So, classical essay. How can we define that this is the classical essay or not? So, you are getting some characteristics. Number 1, the essay genre belongs to the category of non-fiction. It is a relatively short piece of prose that you should be able to read it by sitting. And the third one is the essay expresses the writer's subjective examination of topic of an essay could be anything. There is usually one top is examination from many different angles as well. Here we are having some more characteristic of an essay. As we have already discussed, that which are the prominent characteristics. In this slide, you are also having some more characteristic of an effective essay, that how can we write. So, number 4 that you can see, the essay is a subjective genre, which means that a writer often expresses his or her own thoughts, experience, ideas, but it is very important to make and emphasize that while the essay should be personal or not. So, fourth category, the fourth characteristics plays very important role to write an effective essay. That's we have to keep in mind every time while we frame, while we write any kind of essay. In number 5 characteristics, instead of being close and conclusive, one more time dear students, I just want to repeat this one. Instead of being close and conclusive, the essay is often open and inquisitive. There might be something playful about the way the topic is approached. I just want to give the summary of characteristic number 5, that essays are typically open-ended and exploratory rather than the definitive or the conclusive. That's the thing that you have to keep in our mind every time. They approach the topic in a curious and sometimes playful way as well, which encourage readers to think about the subject every time, which insist that instead of simply providing them with the final answers as well. In next characteristics number 6, as a personal genre, essays often use the pronoun I and include anecdotes. The writer explores their personal connection to the topic while inviting readers to join in a sad journey of the discovery. In next slide, we are having the history and the development. Dear students, that why history? We have to learn every time. It could be any topic, it could be any subject, but it is very necessary to know that why history is necessary to learn, why history is necessary to read, because any kind of history always help us what was happened, how it was happened, who was the protagonist, and so on. Brief history and development. So, dear students, in this slide, we are having brief history and the development. Let's see. Some early writings like Sierra's works on topics such as the pleasantness of old age or the art of divination, Seneca's essays on anger or clemency, and Plutarch's treatises on the passing of oracles hint at the style and tone of essays. However, the essay as distinct form did not emerge until the late 16th century. Dear students, as we are discussing something about the history, so here that you can see that all these things are connected and happening during the 16th century. As you can see, dear students, the next slide is also all about the history and the development. At the beginning of the 17th century, social manners, the cultivation of politeness, and the training of an accomplished gentleman became the theme of many essayists. So, dear students, here that you can see what could be the main theme of any kind of essay. This theme was first exploited by the Italian Baldassare Castiglione in his The Book of the Courtier, which was published in 1528. Among those who pursued this theme was the 17th century Spanish Jesuit Baldassare Castiglione in his essay on the art of worldly wisdom. Francis Bacon's essay, published in the book form in 1907, 1612 and 1625, were the first works in English that describe themselves as an essayist. Here you can see, dear students, that Francis Bacon is always famous for the best essayist person. Ben Jonson first used the word in English 1609 according to the Oxford English dictionary. Yes, next slide is all about the Montaigne's contribution to the essay. Dear students, first of all, it is very necessary to know that what is the title is all about this slide. Montaigne's contribution to essay. Montaigne began the composing his essay in the year of 1572, and his first collection essays was published in 1580 in two different volumes. Montaigne continued revising and expanding his essays throughout his life by using them as a tool for self-exploration and reflection. His essays remain one of the finest essay collections of its kind. Later writers who echoed Montaigne's style include England's Robert Burton as well, who added a scholarly touch, Sir Thompson Browne and Lawrence Sterne. In France, Edry, Guide and Jean Cocteau brought a more self-conscious and stylish approach to the essay form. In the 17th century, essays often focus on the theme like social etiquette, politeness, and the qualities of an ideal gentleman as well. This trend began with the Italian writer named Balser Castiglione in his book of the Courtier 1528. Before Michael de Montaigne and Francis Bacon introduced the term essay in the 16th century, writings of this nature were known as treatises. These earlier works, which aimed to address serious topics with logical consistency, lacked the charm and personal touch that later essays brought to literature. As for example, the didactic tone of Aristotle's rhetoric or metaphysics does not align with what we now consider an essay. Meanwhile, Montaigne, who popularized the term essay, profoundly influenced essayists across the continental Europe and English-speaking countries. Ralph Waldo Emerson, in his work Representative Man, placed Montaigne among great thinkers like Plato, Shakespeare, and Goethe. William Hazlitt praised Montaigne for embodying qualities often associated with English literary tradition, while Romantic writer Leigh Hunt admired him as the first man who had the courage to say as an author what he felt as a man. Even in the 20th century, poetry with Montaigne, the essay reached its unique potential, offering what number of other forms of writing could achieve as effectively. It became a symbol of new human perspective, embracing change and personal growth rather than striving for an unchanging godlike ideal of invulnerability. Montaigne also encouraged self-acceptance in all its complexity, rejecting the medieval ideas of the asceticism. In his essays, he explored both his flaws and strengths. Means how? By acknowledging his imperfections, he aimed to rise above mediocrity. Conversely, he sometimes idealized himself, aspiring to become the person he depicted in his writing. This kind of balance of self-critique and self-explanation defined the transformative power of the essay as a literary form. Meanwhile, what happened? Montaigne in his essay aimed to teach ethical lessons in a simple and straightforward way as well, but without using fancy language or grand speeches. He presented an ideal that many writers followed for centuries. For what reason? To improve oneself as a tolerant and cultured person in the society. However, Unlike medieval Christian writers, Montaigne didn't believe in any kind of sacrifice the most important parts of himself for the others. Why? He was willingly to help others, he valued his own personality and freedom above all. He always focused on becoming a wiser individual person. No essay writer after Montaigne covered such a wide range of topics with such a casual, charming and a brilliant style. So, dear students, here that you can see in the last slide, we have discussed something about that Montaigne's contribution in essay, how he was legend, which kind of characteristics he had, and how he has impressed the people. A person who always believed in criticizing for himself only, he also motivates the people and he also improves his qualities and the mistakes as well. I hope our today's session could be very beneficial and fruitful for you. Thanks to all the students for giving your valuable time. Thank you.
स्वाध्यायः परमः